What's up, everybody? Brett here, back today, playing some more Total War Warhammer 2. It's going to be another community cast this time for my buddy Triari. He's going up against River Rat, playing as Chaos, I can already see. It's a pretty damn strong Chaos build. Let's see how he's able to do it. He's rocking the new boy, Eltharion, on Stormwing. And, yeah, I think he's probably been having a lot of fun with this guy. Eltharion is... in campaign, at least, he's an absolute beast. As a hybrid caster, he's basically, if you think of him as Karl Franz, but with the ability to use magic. He brings his own heals and apotheosis. He has Shield of Safri to give damage resistance every time he casts. Soul Quench, a little bit of damage there. We've got Tempest, in case he's going up against any type of flying units. I don't see anything like that on the other side of the battlefield. But then he also has the Fang Sword of Eltharion, which gives him huge physical resistance. This, I feel like, is a must include if you're going to be using him aggressively. And then he also has the Helm of Ivris, which makes it so that entities cannot die while the ability is active and unbreakable. So you pop this on something like a Swordmaster of Hoeth in the thick of battle, and they will just fight to the last man, to the last elf, let's say, and just become absolute blenders. It's pretty damn powerful. And then in the front line, he's rocking some Silver and Guard, the new, very cost-effective high elf infantry unit that I think a lot of people actually, from what I've seen in streams and such, a lot of people are sort of complaining about them and their cost efficiency. I don't see anything broken about them. I do think they're a very efficient spearman unit, as most of the elves in general, their spearman units are. Whether you're talking about the dark elves or the wood elves, they're all pretty cost efficient. And in the back here, we've got the Fireborn with their flaming attacks and their incredible anti-large damage, super powerful unit, being backed up by Rahagra's Pride. Finally getting to see these bad boys in combat, and they have their special ability. Let's see if we can hover over it there. The Mighty Roar, which lowers leadership and speed, which can come in handy quite a bit. And then one Sisters of Avalorn, a pretty value pick there. I like that. Yeah, one elite infantry unit, one elite archer unit, one elite, truly elite cav unit. And then in the front lines, we have the Eltharion Reaver Archers, two groups. Is there anything else on the battlefield to make sure I'm not missing anything? But their value here is that they can out-skirmish any of the Chaos skirmishers by sheer fact that they have 140 range versus the 90 range of these Marauder Horsemasters. And Horsemasters, make no mistake, are a powerful unit, decent in melee combat if they need to be, but they can tear through units like this if they can get close enough, but they probably won't. And they're also quite the investment as well. They're being backed up by two Chaos Warhounds with their 95 speed versus the 90 speed of the Eltharion Reaver Archers. They probably could catch them were they allowed to get close enough. If these were the poison variant, then I would be very concerned. Oh, he has one poison. Okay. One poison. You know, he's kiting into his own front line, so he's not that concerned. But getting a couple freebies here against the Horsemasters is definitely value. So, front line for Chaos is going to be pretty heavy metal as far as this matchup is concerned. You don't really need to go Chosen. If you're fighting Swordmasters of Hoeth, your Chaos Warriors with great weapons will do a decent job of fighting them. You've got Marauders in the center, nice and cheap, and then more Chaos Warriors with great weapons out on the flanks. And then here, Aspiring Champions, a pick that I often like. They do magic damage, so there's some consideration about which matchups you should or should not bring them against. But they do good splash attack. They have Vanguard deployment, not that that's ever been relevant. But actually, I've never even tried to ambush someone with these dudes. That would be insane. But they have huge armor, silver shields, and they have an encouragement aura. So they're really good when you pair them with Chaos Marauders. So two groups of Chaos Marauders for every one Aspiring Champion, I think is probably a pretty damn smart ratio. And then back here, you've got a Chaos Sorcerer with Metal. Looks like he's basically just going to be a Final Transmutation Plague of Rust on a stick. He's also got the Forbidden Rod, speaking of sticks. But that's all he's going to do. He's going to look for blobs, get Final Transmutations for some serious damage, and barring that, Plague of Rust will help this beat squad here. You've got Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Kind of speaks for itself, right? Causing terror, armor piercing, everything you need to know. Kholek Sun Eater as well. These two guys working together can take out just about anything. And I would be very cautious if I was Triari of trying to go in on them with Eltharion. He's not going to be able to duel Kholek, let alone Kholek, a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, plus a Plague of Rust lowering his armor. His armor currently sits at 100. He has no missile resistance other than his missile resistance as a Lord. Let's see what that is. So 15%. So the Horse Masters are a legitimate threat to him while he's up in the air. And without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and just get into it. Definitely want to take advantage of your skirmishing superiority. I would probably also look to get the Sisters of Avalorn probably tucked into here. Take advantage of their massive 180 range. And I would also probably keep my front line further back. Just the range advantage so much goes to the High Elves right now. I don't know if I would necessarily want to engage. So we've got a Plague of Rust upgraded. Yeah, I mean, that works in combination. The Horse Masters are not the Throwing Axe variant. The Throwing Axes do a lot more armor piercing. But, you know, Plague of Rust plus that will do a lot of damage. I'm not sure why he thought he would just leave him out in the middle of no man's land to get sniped out. I would never make a cast like that, because I always expect my opponents to be good until proven otherwise. Now the Horse Masters are right here in the front line. Get them. Get them with the Silver and Guard. Let's see if anything happens here. That's a massive blob. I always like to have at least one spell that can punish blobs. And the Rahagra's Pride has gotten in on these hounds, and they're going to absolutely dumpster them. Now, it just remains to be seen whether or not they're going to be able to stay on this Chaos Sorcerer, who is on horseback, so should be quite fast. And the Fireborn went in on the Shaggoth and Kholek in the woods to pin them down. But that's not really a great fight for them. 1v1, I think they beat probably both of these. But in a 2v1 scenario, they'll just start losing models so quickly, it's probably not worth it. Eltharion's got the Fang Sword pop for that physical resistance, should help him out. And the Sisters of Avalorn, yes, I think this is a good decision. Protect them. I think they're your moneymakers right now. They're the ones who are going to absolutely snipe out this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, who does have scaly skin, so he's a bit missile resistant, perhaps more so than he looks. And the Silver and Guard are going to do a good job of holding back the Chaos Tide, but not forever. This is just too much power. They're going to be able to push through them no problem soon. A Soul Quench going down on the Chaos Sorcerer from downtown. It does look like it makes contact. I don't know how much damage it did. But the Fireborn being used to screen. Chaos Warhounds getting in the back. But the thing about the Sisters of Avalorn is their melee defense is 50, right? They don't go down easy to pressure like that. Pulling the Fireborn out would definitely not want them to fight while their armor is reduced by 60. That's quite a heavy hit for them. And the Eltharion Reaver Archers are just being thrown into the Horse Masters to kind of hold them in place, no doubt, so that the Spearmen can get in there, so that the Sisters of Avalorn can have as much time as they need. Now, the Swordmasters of Hoeth have been forgotten about a bit here. You could say they're being kept in reserve for the final fight, which is not really that bad of a thing to do. Let all the infantry get worn out on the cheap stuff, let all the big monsters go down, let all the Winds of Magic get used up, and then you bring in a full health Lore Masters, or Sword Masters of Hoeth, in the fourth quarter, and there's really nothing that can stop them at that point. I don't think that was intentional, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. The Spearmen are getting crumped. The Fireborn are now being engaged with the Spearmen and Eltharion, going in for an Alpha Strike on Kholek, who has Star Crusher popped, so his splash damage and armor piercing are huge. And it kind of looks like he's being a little bit, like staggered here. He wasn't able to attack. His animations were a bit delayed. And what do we have here? A Transmutation. Not Overcast, though, so it's going to do some damage, but not as much as it could. The Rahagra's Pride are in the back. We can slow-mo this, we can K-mode this, and just watch these lions tear up these Marauders. They have some truly awesome animations, as you would expect for, like, armored war lions. Kholek and his little brother standing back-to-back against the Fireborn. Eltharion on Stormwing, looking heroic as hell, while the Sisters of Avalorn do all the DPS they need to do. These other units need to get in here, though, and screen. Otherwise, it looks like the aspiring champions are pushing through the Silver and Guard. The thing is, they're so defensively powerful. Let's see, they have 62 melee defense and 120 armor. Low-tier Spearmen, even mid-tier Spearmen, like the Silver and Guard, just can't do anything versus them. They're just countered so hard. But yeah, Kholek has gotten crushed. And Mighty Roar actually affecting him to the point where he's going to shatter off. And now this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, who normally has pretty damn good leadership, finds himself alone and against some very good armor-piercing units. Horsemaster's still online, but the shock of losing your lord is often too much for any army. It triggers an instant leadership penalty that does go away after a while, but sometimes if you've got that battle already sitting on the edge, it's going to be enough to tip it in your favor. So if I was River Rat, I would have heavily prioritized trying to take down the Sisters of Avalorn. And I think once I realized that the Eltharion Reaver Archers were on the field and that they outranged me heavily, I would have not given up on the Marauder Horsemasters as skirmish units, but considered them more light cav in the way that Triari did near the end there. He realized, you know what, they're not doing me any good as archers. I need them to block up and gunk up this fight in this flank so that the Sisters can continue to shoot, because he knew that the Sisters were the big DPS that was going to take down Kholek and this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. So I think at that point you realize, hey, I've got 6 highly mobile units to my opponent's 4, and I can get in there, right? He's not going to be able to dedicate. You do a full surround, a full flank before you ever engage, and then you move in as one, and at some point something is getting on these Sisters, right? The Eltharion Reavers are probably going to die to whatever they're fighting or come damn close. It's going to be an equal trade with any of these, 6 units. The Fireborn and the Rahagar's Pride, right, they're going to crush whatever they fight, most likely, just by nature of being a regiment of renown and extremely powerful. So you might get a little bit of damage on them if you could put them against a large target or a poison warhound, right? But the Sisters of Avalorn needed to be shut down, and at that point, all you're fighting is infantry. You're fighting infantry and Eltharion and, the Fireborn, and you've got a much better shot at that. And you have the added benefit of you're corralling your opponent into something like a big circle, where your final transmutations are going to be a lot more effective. But good play there. I like the inclusion of the Silvern Guard. They just hold all day long. And then the Swordmasters basically never even had to get committed. They had 78 kills and didn't take almost any damage. Those 78 kills probably against some Warhounds or some Marauders, something like that. But had it come down to a late game battle, I've seen the Swordmasters fight to nearly the last man. So even a full HP Kholek against a full HP Swordmasters of Hoeth unit, I'm actually curious who would win there, considering that they're more of an anti-infantry unit. But their armor piercing and their leadership is so high, their damage is so high, that I almost feel like they might stick around long enough to kill him. Would be interesting to test that as well. Just anti-infantry units that, like Hargoneth Executioners, units like that, greatswords, who could probably take down heavily armored lords that they're not really meant to take down, just through sheer grit and determination. But anyway, guys, that was a very interesting game. I love Eltharion as a hybrid caster slash, brawler. And I think he used him to his full potential this game. He used his magic to try and snipe out the Chaos Sorcerer with the Lore of Metal. No doubt, he used Apotheosis to keep him topped off. And just applying that Shield of Sapphire buff across your entire army also allows him to last longer with that ward save. So he's a great hero. I think he's an awesome choice. I don't know if he'll ever topple Eltharion, or I know Imric, some tests have been done with him. Apparently, due to some of the tests that I've seen, Imric has the highest weapon strength or overall DPS, period. Higher than Kholek, higher than Cetra. Apparently Alistair on a Star Dragon is also pretty damn strong. But apparently he has just straight up the highest DPS in the game. So there's lots of things contending for best High Elf Lord. And Teclis' Winds of Magic are basically infinite now. And on the Arcane Phoenix, even though he costs an arm and a leg, he's still incredibly cost effective. And just the sheer amount of AoE magic damage he can do, and the infinite casting he can do. And now, with that Arcane Phoenix, he's so much harder to take down. And then let's not forget Tyrion, who basically can come back to life after wiping like half your army in a 1v1. So, anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Brett. My channel is Goodtalk Gaming. Subscribe if you like. Submit a replay on the Discord if you like. The link is in the description down below. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. And big thanks to these guys for playing a great game. Thanks to Triari for submitting. And thanks to River Rat for being a good sport. So, without any further ado, take care. Later, guys.